Hi, it is a reading vlog time. Yay! Basically, I want to try these kind of like themed reading vlogs that are very popular because I love watching them and I love making content that I love watching. That's just how it goes. So yeah, I found myself preferring it over weekly vlogs, and also just like the fact that making weekly vlogs just isn't attainable for me at all, which I tried last year, you know that. But I still want to vlog. I like vlogging. So we're gonna try the occasional themed reading vlog. And today we're starting by reading series finales. At least I think this is the last book in the series. I hope so. Basically, we have a 6-book series, a 2-book series, and a 4-book series that we're gonna be finishing today. All of these are very anticipated and sequels to books I absolutely adored. So I'm also scared because, you know, series finales aren't the best. They're very hit or miss. I'm not always happy with them. So I thought it'd be a fun experience to vlog, even though it's also going to be a pain because I don't want to do spoilers and I don't know how to talk about these books without using any spoilers, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. We're going to read these together. Have a fun time. So basically, I'm gonna go in, I've planned out an order that I was gonna read them in. So I'm gonna tell you about them in that order. First off, we have The Desolations of Devil's Acre by Ransom Wicks. This is the last book in the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children series that I adore. The previous books have not all been 5 stars for me, but I think the lowest is a 3-star, I believe. I don't know. But that was my least favorite in the series is the 3rd book, which was the original ending to the series before it got extended. So I'm a bit scared that I won't like this one either, but I've been absolutely adoring the extension. The previous 2 books have gotten 5 stars for me and I love the storyline in them, and we still have a lot to unravel going into this, so I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna start this as soon as I finish filming this clip because I'm just too excited for it. And then next up we have Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. This is the 2nd book in the Hanks duology, and the first one being an absolutely remarkable thing, which I loved. It was a 4-star for me, so not perfect, but I did really love that book. So yeah, I've also been highly anticipating this book, just haven't really gotten around to it. It's been on a couple of TBRs, so yeah, but I don't know. I am really excited to read this. I'm also putting the 2nd because it is the shortest out of the 3. Normally, yes, it's still pretty big, but it's the shortest out of the 3. If I remember An Absolutely Remarkable Thing correctly, it is very readable, and flicking through it, it does also have some mixed media elements in it. So yeah, I'm hoping this will just be like a quicker break in between the 2 pretty big books. And then lastly, we have A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabrina here. And this is last because I'm the most scared of this one. This is the last book in the Ember in the Ashes series, which all 3 of those books before this one have been 5 stars. So this one has the most riding upon it, if it goes well or not. And I know Sabrina was also an author who doesn't back away from pain, so that also makes me scared. But yeah, I'm still very excited to read this book. And yeah, I'll tell you more about the synopsis of these 2 series once we get into them. But first, let's give you a Miss Peregrine's synopsis. Woo, my book just fell. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is a YA fantasy novel about Jacob, who has all his life has been told stories by his grandfather about this orphanage in Wales that houses children with peculiarities, with like kind of superpowers. And Jacob, as he grew older, believed in those stories less and less, and just saw those stories as a way of his grandfather dealing with the trauma of the war that he went through. And then one day his grandfather dies and Jacob is on the scene very last minute, and he sees these kind of monsters, but no one believes him. They think his grandfather was just attacked by wild dogs. And then while cleaning up his grandfather's house, he finds clues that lead to the fact that this orphanage was real. So he decides to go to Wales with his father to figure out the truth of this orphanage, just to learn more about his grandfather. And then he ends up learning that the stories were true and a lot happens. And this is book 6. And I'm so excited. The original trilogy takes place in the UK in the past, and then the current trilogy, the sequels, I guess, 4, 5, and 6 take place in modern day US. They still go back in time. There's like a time travel element to it. That still happens. But this one is more like present focused, while the previous series was more like past focused. So yeah, I'm excited to delve into this book. And yeah, I'll talk to you once I have thoughts. Okay, it's a little over an hour later, and I'm already a quarter of the way through this book. That's 125 pages, in case anyone's in case anyone's curious. That's the right way to say that. My plan was to update you each quarter, because, you know, that's usually a good idea when it comes to updating you on thoughts. So, thought I'd do that. I ended up reading this way quicker than I was expecting. My bookmark keeps falling out, I'm sorry. Like, this is going by very quickly. As I said, it was a little bit over an hour since I started reading. So, that's a good point. And I'm really enjoying this so far. It's not really like go, go, go action pace, but it also hasn't had like a dull moment. We are like making our way through things. And I'm really liking that. I also am really liking our characters. Again, I love these characters so much. And yes, I'm falling in love with them again. It's every time I pick up a book from the series, I'm always reminded how much I love these characters. And it's happening again. And yeah, there's also quite a lot of recapping from the previous books, like integrated in the story. And I appreciate that. Like, the ending of the last book is recapped in this, which I appreciate, because my memory is not that great. I was a little bit lost in the very beginning, but I feel like the beginning is written in a way for you to be a little bit confused, a little bit lost. And honestly, like, the first like couple of pages from the first chapter, which again I feel like it's written to make you a little bit confused, that was written so beautifully. I really like that. The writing in that part. But I like Ransom writing in general. But that part was just written a little bit differently, and I really liked how it was written, so I thought I'd know what this is. And yeah, I'm having a blast. That's all I have to say. Hi, it is like an hour and a half. Wait, I'm counting. Yeah, a little bit more than an hour and a half later, and I'm halfway through the book. Yay. So this took me a little bit longer to read than the first quarter, mainly because I feel like in the first quarter we're like setting things up and things are happening, and then now in the second quarter we spend a lot of time just like expanding on those things and explaining those things more, and it's very interesting, and I had a blast, but it's just a lot to take in, and that just goes a little bit slower. And now we finally started reaching the action again, so I'm excited to continue, but I'm going to take a small break from reading just to give my brain a rest, because a lot of information just got in here. And yeah, this book is going in a very exciting direction, and I can't wait to continue reading. Okay, so it's the next day. It's in the morning. Hi, I don't usually read in the mornings, but I kind of want to finish my book today, and I planned on filming it today, so I know that's gonna take up most of my reading, like time that I spent reading like yesterday. So I decided to read in the morning, but I'm here because I'm a quarter from the end, and things are getting wild. I'm just gonna compare this really quick to Library of Souls, because that was the original series ender for the series. And with Library of Souls, I didn't like it as much because I felt like not a whole lot happened throughout the book until like the very end. And that hasn't been the case in this book. Like, yes, there have been moments that aren't as action-packed, where we're just kind of like building the world, I guess, or building the situation and explaining things and figuring things out. Hasn't been like all action. But there hasn't been a slow moment in this book so far. Like, everything that is in here is needed, is very, very needed to round up this plot. And we're constantly learning, or we're constantly like fighting or like doing action things, and I'm really enjoying that. And also, there's a lot of small character moments, because we are in like the middle of something huge, so there's not really time to have like moments with the characters just hanging out, but we do have like these small moments in between things, and I'm living for those moments. They're very good. And yeah, I think we've gotten to like the final battle in a way moment, so I'm gonna stop talking to you and figure out how all that's gonna go, but I'll talk to you when I've actually finished this book. Hi, I just had lunch and freshened up, so I look less like a mess than I did in my previous clip. I'm sorry. But I also finished The Desolations of Devil's Acre. Oh my god! That Lil was everything. Have you ever read a book and just like thought to yourself, I'm reading too slowly? Like, I wish I could read faster because I need to know what happens next, but my eyeballs aren't going fast enough. That's what happened with me. Like, the last quarter of this book, like, this last quarter didn't, like, slow down at all. It was hit after hit after hit after hit. And damn. But just overall thoughts on this book. I love giving this 5 out of 5 stars because, oh, fantastic. I was a bit scared going into this book because Library of Souls, which I've said before, was the previous ending to the series, and I didn't really like that book that much, so I was scared that when some just didn't know how to end the series. But this, yes, fantastic. I loved it so much. First of all, I always forget how much I love this world. I do know that this is one of my favorite series of all time, established officially now that it's finished, because it is so good and I love these characters and I love this world. But I always seem to forget just how much I love it until I'm like reading one of the books and I'm just like, damn, everything about it is just so good. It's so well written and it's so well crafted, and honestly, even though this is like an attachment to the original series, I feel like this is the way it always was supposed to be, which, you know, is a great feeling to have. Yeah, like I said before, I love these characters so much. This one didn't have as many like character moments, so like I would say like silent moments where like nothing really is going on except like the characters interacting and the characters building, as like previous books had. But there were a lot of like tiny moments in here that was so precious, and also just like showed the absolute, like, I don't know, the stakes in all of this, and how much our characters were like willing to fight. And at a certain point where they just felt a little bit defeated, it just showed how much they had like worked for towards all of this, and how it's like painful to put out defeat, and like you get the purpose of these characters through these little tiny moments where they show the friendship and just who they are. And oh, I love it so much. Really, actual just like ending, I almost cried happy tears. My heart almost combusts. It was so precious. I just, it's exactly what these characters deserved, and I loved it. That's it. I'm gonna film now, and then I'll talk to you again once I pick up the next book. Bye. Hi, it's another day. I'm talking about another book. I started A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hangry, which is the second book in the Calls duology. I said the Hangs earlier, which I don't know why. It's the Calls. The first book is An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, and that book follows April May as she goes home from work one day, I believe. I don't remember exactly, but she's walking the streets one day and she sees this huge statue. She thinks it's an art project, so she calls a friend who has a YouTube channel. They make a YouTube video about it. Next day, turns out these statues have been popping up all around the world and nobody knows how they got there, who put them there, and what they are. And April kind of becomes a spokesperson for these statues, as she is the first person to really like talk about them, I guess. And it is a first contact with alien story, but it mainly focuses on April being thrown into the spotlight and her reaction to fame. And then this is the sequel, and I'm a quarter of the way through. It's 113 pages in, so I thought I'd update you. I know I said earlier that because this was shorter than other two books, it's gonna be like my break book, but it's slower than The Conference of Birds. And maybe that's because I feel like we're still very much in the introductory stage of the story. We follow 3 perspectives in this book, so it's different from the first one, and all of the 3 perspectives, like, interesting things are happening, but I feel like we're still very much at like the introductory stage of those things, and I'm excited to learn more about those things. But I don't know, it's going by a little bit slowly at the moment. I am really enjoying the 3 perspectives though. A problem I had with An Absolutely Remarkable Thing is that I didn't like April that much, which was the point of the book, but being on a perspective, it just, I don't know, irked me a lot. So having other perspectives in this book as well is just really working for me, and I really like it. And yeah, I'm a bit conflicted on this so far because it is really slow, but like I said, we're still in the introductory stage of the book, so maybe if I get further into it, I will like it more. Hi, it's yet another day. I know I don't look like it because I'm always wearing this, but that's because it's just cold, and I just put this on over my PJs to keep warm. I apologize. But An Absolutely Remarkable, no, I always say An Absolutely Remarkable Thing is the sequel, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. I'm 226 pages in, which means I'm halfway through. Oh my god. A lot has changed since I last talked to you. And I'm processing still. It's still quite a slow read because there's a lot of information. This definitely goes more sci-fi than the first book does. So there's a lot of things to process, but I'm loving it. Oh, like I told you about how there were like 3 different perspectives. We got 2 more added, which switched up so many things. But like all the perspectives are pretty disconnected for the most part. But they've recently, things have started happening and are connecting all the perspectives, and it's done in such an interesting way, and I love it so much. And I have a hard time putting it down because I just want to keep learning. I want to keep learning about what's going on because it's so interesting. It takes up so much brain power, but it's so interesting. God, I really love this. I also love the way this is written. It's the same way as with An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, where it's An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. It's April just telling you what happened in her own words after the fact. Like, she's writing a book about the events, and that's the book. And then this is kind of the same thing, but with different perspectives in it as well. And I feel like the writing style really comes like to its full shine when having multiple perspectives, because it just shows off like the personality of these characters so well, because every person like writes so differently because it's their voice, and I'm really enjoying it. And oh, I really love the first book, but like this is like bringing this to a whole other level, and I'm loving it so much. Like I said, it is slow because there is a lot of information to take in, but perhaps once we get like more towards the ending of this book, we might pick up a little bit more because we are learning just a lot of things right now. Okay, so I'm 3/4 of the way through this, and things are picking up. I feel like we've finally gotten past like the information stage and we're getting into the action stage, and I'm excited. I need this last quarter to be a good payoff because I have a lot of information in my mind, and the only purpose of that information is the plot of this book. So it better pay off, but I'm so excited to see where this is gonna head up to, because this is such a level up from An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. Like, I can't even begin to express that to you. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I'm gonna make efforts now to finish it, but I don't think I'll be able to finish it until tomorrow. But I'll give you a full discussion of my thoughts when I do finish it, because oh my god. Okay, so it's Friday, and last night I finished A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor. Oh my god. Okay, so like I said in my last clip, I wasn't expecting to actually finish this yesterday, but then something happens. I was just like, I need to keep reading because otherwise, I don't know, my brain will explode. It still exploded, so I don't know what. brilliant, 5 stars. I love this so much. It's one of my, I think this might be my favorite book of the year so far. I don't know, it's very close contender with Radio Silence, but oh, so good. And I wasn't, like I said, the last quarter was gonna make or break this book for me, because even though I was loving what was happening, I was very interested in what was being discussed, I know that if that ending didn't pay off, this would have been like a 4-star book for me or something. But it paid off way better than I've expected to. Oh my god. I don't even fully know how to process my thoughts because I'm still processing this book. It is a huge step up from the first one. The first one focuses more so on April May being thrusted into fame and what that means for her and how that changes her and stuff like that. This is just a huge commentary on humanity and how much we suck, but also how much potential we have. It's, I don't know how Hank Green did it, but he made me hate humanity and love it at the same time. It's brilliant. Oh, there's so much discussions around this, and Hank Green broke down everything that's wrong with humanity, while also lifting it up. I can't explain it, you have to read this. I'll read the first book first, because otherwise you'll be heavily confused. But, oh, the way he managed to do that, brilliant. And how smart this book was, I feel dumb. Because so much intelligence is in this book. And it's all understandable, don't worry. I never had a moment of confusion throughout the entire reading experience. But, damn. I'm still processing. And I will forever be processing. There was some twists in here that like reveals that I definitely didn't see coming. How that hasn't happened in a while, because part of the reading experience for me is figuring things out. I love it so much. So usually when I don't see things coming, it's because the groundwork wasn't laid for it. This laid the groundwork and I still missed it because there was so much that I was needing to process. And I feel like I did have an idea of like, maybe there's a possibility, but I immediately shut it down because it's like, no, that's ridiculous. And it still happened. Like, I don't know. Hank Green is so good at like keeping you busy, but thinking about other things that you don't see the important thing coming, even though it was all there. I'm still trying to form coherent sentences. So I'm glad I update you throughout the way, because I can only talk about the ending right now. Oh, love this, love this. If you read the first book, weren't too sure about it, wanted more of the sci-fi, read this one. Definitely read this one. It's so good. So far, 2 for 2 with 5 stars. And now comes the one I'm the most scared about. That's A Sky Beyond the Storm, which is the 4th and final book in the Inuyasha and Inuyasha series. And the Inuyasha and Inuyasha series follows 2 main characters in the beginning, so I'll keep with their stories. We follow Leia and Elias, and Leia is, the kind of this world is split up into like scholars and masks. Not really masks, like warriors. It's also not the right name for it. I forgot the name for it. And Leia's a scholar, and the scholars are being like oppressed. And Leia's parents used to be part of like the rebellion, and her brother is also doing shit with the rebellion, and he gets caught. So the warriors, I'm gonna call them warriors because I forgot the name for it, they go after her brother, and she like goes after the family in general, and she goes on the run, and she has to end up getting help from the rebellion because her brother is in prison, and she ends up like going undercover as a slave at the school for the masks, which are like this super soldier type thing. And Elias is actually in that school to be one of the masks. His family is like very important in this world, but he doesn't want to be a mask. He hates it. And it's a couple of days before his graduation, and he's planning to escape on his graduation. But then it gets announced that you need to have this contest for the new emperor, because normally like the emperor is passed down to like heirs, but the current emperor doesn't have an heir, and he's gonna die. So you need to have this contest, and Elias is put into it, and shit happens. This is the 4th book, and I'm so excited to read this, but I'm also so scared because I can't have this go on because I love this series so much. Like, all the previous books are all 5 stars, so I want this to go well, but I'm scared. And I'm also just scared because Sabat here isn't nice. I mean, she is probably very nice, but she isn't afraid to hurt me. And you know, I like my life happy, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I'm a quarter of the way through The Sky Beyond the Storm. Hi. I have to show the side because I took the dust jacket off because I don't like reading with a dust jacket on. Like you can see, I'm a quarter of the way through. I'm really liking it so far. We're still kind of in the introductory stage of the book where we're kind of seeing where the characters are after the events of the previous book, and also trying to like set up little pieces for what's gonna happen in this book. But I'm really liking it at this moment. We're just in a good point for like character leaderships. I'm liking that. And yeah, I've laughed and I've swooned. I'm just really enjoying being back with these characters because I really like them. And yeah, the story hasn't really picked up that much yet, but I am excited to see where it's gonna go based on like the little nuggets we're getting now. Yay, that's all I have to say. I love it, you on some halfway through. Hi, it has been a while. I apologize. It's been 2 months since I last updated you. That's because I fell into a huge reading slump and I didn't read anything in April. Well, I read one book, but didn't read much in April. And then in May, I tried to pick up Sky Beyond the Storm a couple of times, but like my brain just couldn't process fantasy. So here we are, it's the 2nd of June, and I'm officially reached the halfway mark of A Sky Beyond the Storm, the 4th and final book in the Number in the Ashes series, as well as the final book for this vlog. I also have to say, I've listened to this vlog so far, and it's 26 minutes, so I apologize for the length, but read another quarter, I'm halfway through, and I don't have much news to say because I feel like we're still setting things up a little bit. We're learning a lot about like the big evil of the series. We're learning a lot about that thing. I'm trying to do this without any spoilers. We're learning a lot about that and like the lore of everything and more of like the magic of this world. And then in like another storyline, we are kind of fighting a smaller evil. I guess I would say the evil of the book rather than the evil of the series, which the thing we're learning about is. I don't know if that makes sense, but we're fighting that and like we're strategizing and getting allies, so not a whole lot of stuff, even though like it's not boring. There are action scenes, but I feel like the plot hasn't moved forward a lot. The last chapter I read did do something major in moving the plot forward, so I'm hoping that the second half will be better, but I don't know. It's not like I'm bored with this book at all, because it is very interesting, the things that we're learning, and it's going by pretty quickly, like reading it. And I really love hanging out with these characters and learning more about this world and like the magic and stuff like that. But I don't know, I'm not loving this book so far. Like the other 3 books in the series, I have been like obsessed with the entire way through, and I don't have that with this one. I'm enjoying my time reading it. I'm just not in love, you know? So I'm hoping that will switch around in the second half because I really want this to be so good. Hi, it is a couple of weeks later. God, this video is like been so long in the making, and I apologize, but I'm a quarter of the way from the end. Thank God. Also, exams are over, and that means that school is over as well. So hopefully I'll be able to finish this rather quickly. But yeah, Sky Beyond the Storm, 3rd quarter. What do I have to say? I know in my last update I said that I felt like things were finally picking up, and that was true. Like where we left things off, like things are getting exciting, but then we are back to the dull state. And this book has been a little tired time. I don't know if this is just me and like the prolonged reading experience I've had with this book, but I'm not really enjoying myself that much. This last quarter is gonna decide if it's gonna be a 3 or a 4 star, and I hate to say that because I loved the series so much so far, and I just, yes, this This is the most disappointing one from the video to not like, because this series, every book before this has been a 5-star without a doubt, so easily. I'm going to the 2 series, the Calls series, I gave the first book 4 stars, and then for Miss Peregrine's, that's a whole bunch of different ratings. But this is all 5 stars. And I'm not liking it as much. I feel like it's very like dragged out and, I don't know, boring. We do get like little moments of action, but they're so far, like, so they're few and like far away from each other. I did not explain them as well. There's just like a lot of like strategizing and politics stuff and just like learning new things, and it's just not as interesting. If I haven't learned that many new things either, I don't know why I'm saying learning new things. Trying to learn new things would be more accurate. And I don't know, and I'm also just not as invested as I've been with the previous books. And again, I don't know if that's just the book or if that's me and the way I've been reading it, because I've been reading this is my 3rd month reading this, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm very disappointed. But I'm gonna read the last quarter, at least start it now, and I will see whenever I finish it. But I'm hoping it will pick up just a little bit and give me some good payoff, because right now I'm not feeling it. Hi, it is another day and I have come with good news, as I finally finished the Sky Beyond the Storm. Goodness, this has been a long time coming. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars because I do think some of the issues I had with this book was purely up to the circumstances I read this book in, so I can fault it for that exactly. And I do think this is a great ending to the series. Like, a lot happens in here, like a lot gets revealed in here. It's not a lot of like super action moments, I'll talk about that later, but a lot gets revealed in here. We learn a lot more about the world, we go to a lot of character development, and eventually I do think this leaves off this series in a very satisfying place, and I think it does that really well. And on top of that, I know there are so many like big impactful moments in here where I can recognize like this is supposed to be a huge thing and I should be sobbing my eyeballs out, but I just felt it sort of like disconnect from the book, and I think that is mostly because of the circumstances I read this in, because this did take me almost 3 months to read, which is entirely on me and not on the book. So yeah, that's why I ended up giving it a 4 star instead of a 3 star, because I feel like even though maybe the reading experience was more like a 3 star, I think that's partly true to the circumstances I created. But having that said, like I said, I do think this book is like pretty long. It's like over 500 pages, but not a whole lot happens here. There's a lot of dull moments in here, and like just times where I felt like we were going like really nowhere, and things that were like introduced very much in the beginning as a conflict took away up until the end to like resolve. Well, we had chances to resolve that like numerous times throughout the book. So I don't know. And it also got repetitive at times a little bit, and that's coming from someone who read this over 3 months. So the fact that I can remember things being repetitive says a lot. But yeah, that's it for my first ever reading vlog. Let's do a quick recap, because I wanted to do this reading vlog as kind of an experiment, I guess, because we all know that series finales aren't the best. So I took 3 of my favorite series, their finales, and see where we ended up. So I started with The Conference of Birds by Ransom Wicks, which is the last book in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series, and I absolutely adored this. I think this was a fantastic finale, so success. Then we have A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor, which is the second and final book in the Calls duology by Hank Green, and this one I loved even more than the first one, and I think it's a brilliant book. I think it's my favorite of the year so far, but I'm not entirely positive about that yet. And then we have Sky Beyond the Storm, which was a little bit of a disappointment for me, but I do still think it wrapped up the series well. So yeah, 2 5 stars and a 4 star. Not the worst way to start off doing like team reading vlogs, but taking 3 months to finish the video is a bad way to start this off. So hopefully next time I'll be doing a team reading vlog, things will go more according to plan. Yeah, a full series discussion for this series is also coming, so look out for that. And of course, for the Miss Peregrine's already is uploaded, so you can go check that out on my channel if you want to. And I don't do serious discussion for the wall just because that would be boring. I'm just talking about 2 books. So yeah. That was it for this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed. I already have some ideas in my head for the reading vlogs. I don't know which ones I'm gonna do first, so stay tuned. And yeah, let me know some below what you thought of these books, if you've read them, as well as some books you've read recently. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Good.